Hey all, I'm Paulius, the soul maker and creator at Baltic Blades. And just a few days ago, I got in the mail a chef knife that I made a year ago for a very, very good client. And it's in for maintenance, for sharpening. So I'm really excited to look how it is going, how it is looking. And I hope to take you all along and show you how I design these knives to be maintained, to be cleaned, so they can last for a very long time if you look after them, even generations. So let's get into it and let's look at what we got. Let's take a look at the blade. This is the original packaging that I've developed a year ago. You can see there are some spots and stuff like that from the client. And basically this is how he got it. And you can see the blade is all murdered out. It's all black as the client wanted. The model is a heron, as this line of knives is made to be look like to give the vibe and the feel of birds, to be light and agile. It's 2.2 millimeters ABL stainless steel at 60 or 61 HRC. It is fully cerakoted just to give that nice aesthetic, and the handle is fully G10, which is holding in with black stainless screws, so the handle can be taken off and be maintained. This is what we will do next. We will take off the handle scales. We will look at the tang. Is there any dirt? Is there any residue that we need to clean out? Then will polish up these handle scales, and finally we will sharpen the blade, put a brand new edge on it, and yeah, and then I might give you a tip on edge maintenance. But first, let's take a look on how sharp it actually is. Yeah, there's one sharp spot, but it's totally gliding from my nail. It's fully dull, and if I can, yeah, I can catch it. You can see that it's reflecting light almost through all of the edge, with small dark spots where maybe there is some edge left, which is, yeah, it's not optimal. You shouldn't let your knives get this dull. So yeah, let's go and disassemble it. So I have the blade on my workbench. We will try and to disassemble it, look inside how it's been looking after a year of use. And I'll be using two of my torque screws because screwdrivers, because these are T20 torque screws. So yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, undoing those is pretty easy because I want to be these blades to be maintained, so people can look after them and have them for a very, very long time. So you can see there's no play in the handle scale, even when it's unscrewed. Is because we are having not 2 but 3 pins, which gives great stability. Also, at least you cannot see, but I can feel that there is no gap between the tang and the handle scale, because the scales are made from G10, and G10 is a superb material for kitchen knives. It is very, very stable, non-porous, so it's very hard to do anything bad to it. It's very resilient to wear and tear, which is very nice. So let's try and take it off, and let's see. I can only see the slightest hint of humidity. The same as on the scale. As you can see, it's a little bit humid here, and yeah, you can see the sanded finish, so it fits flush with the tang. And we can take the other part off, wiggle it off, and try and press out these screws. And yeah, these are the handle scales. The nice part of these handle scales is that if you break any of those, there's a possibility for me to make another set, which is nice for them to be removable. So yeah, and these really need to be cleaned with some acetone, I guess, and then I will go and buff those up to make them look brand spanking new. And now looking at the blade, as you can see, it's all naked, very thin, very nice. This needs to be cleaned. I will try with some grease remover that I have that is organic, and to make it all look like new. And yeah, you can see the tang. What I will do, yeah, I will clean those up, clean up those handle scales and assemble it, and then we will go into sharpening. And I can already tell that you can see that there's some bright spots on these black screws. So I think, oh, there's even a very faint light spot in this one. I will change those out to new ones because it's a very good client of mine and he really likes the all black murdered out look. So yeah, it won't hurt. And this should look and perform as good as new. So yeah, let's go and try and polish up these scales now. Now we will do the polishing of the handle scales. I use, as you can see, I use these buffing wheels for separate things. I hold them in the zip tight lock bags so they don't get any abrasive on them. This one is pretty loose on the ends. I will do a Carnauba wax finish. I really like this wax. It has a very pleasant smell, makes things very shiny, and also it gives when you think things are polished, you imagine they are being slippery, but actually this wax is giving this nice grippy feel, which is, I think, very important for kitchen knives, to be like sticking to your hand and having total control and being an extension of your arm. So yeah, I will throw this on and I will polish them. So let's cue the time lapse. So now, as you can see, as you've seen in the time lapse, these are all nice and polished up. What we will do now is clean the insides of the scales to make that perfect fit, and also clean the inner holes of the screws. As you can see, there's some debris left there. So we'll use just a generic solvent, and I will put some on the paper towels and just lightly wipe off the underside. We don't want to clean the outside as it's been polished up. It's all shiny. It will give a more matte look if we clean it with a solvent. And you can see it's all matte, beautiful inside. There is very, very little dirt. And we do the same to the other scale. This one looks a little bit more dirty. Something is stuck in here. Some scraping might help. Oh yeah, it's coming right off. So, and now for the holes, I will just use a generic Q-tip, dip it in that solvent. First I will try it with the dry end, because why use overkill if you can go with the simple means without using any chemicals. Oh yeah, it's cleaning up just wonderfully. As the debris is pretty loose, it's pretty easy to clean it out. And we will do the same to the other scale. Oh, this one is a little bit tougher. Let's try with the solvent, and it gets right into there. I think I would need a new Q-tip. I don't want to introduce any new debris. And we are getting there. And these are like, this debris is not from using the knife, but from polishing it, because it was polished without the screws. And yeah, it's very easy for dirt to get in there, but there was literally no dirt in there from the use of the knife, which is very good, because as you saw earlier, the fit is very tight. Oh yeah, we are getting that thing clean. A small amount of solvent really helps that wax to get loose. As I said, the carnauba wax is getting sticky, like grippy, so it's hard to remove it, which is nice, and pretty hard sometimes. So we got those scales clean. I wipe with dry towel just to make them look nice again. And now for the blade. As you want to remove only the grease, we will start from the tang. As you remember, there was some humidity in here, so it was a small amount of debris. You can see it's getting all nice and matte comparing to the other side of the blade, because it got some grease from use, which I really like to see my knives used. So it's no biggie, as they are tools for working. Maybe you can even pick it up or see how the choil is around it. That took some time just to get that small detail, and of course the spine is rounded to make it all comfy and don't have any like hot spots. Yeah, you can see there's some debris. And after cleaning it with solvent, of course I will wash it in warm water to not leave any residue, to make it very sanitary. Oh, and you can instantly see it is getting back to the original state in which it was. So yeah, I think it looks great. It looks really uniform now. A small spot right here. I really encourage my clients to send in their knives for a spa day. I do this of no cost except for the shipping, and I really enjoy to see my knives being used and see how they hold up. It's a very very good feedback loop, which lets me create even better working tools. Oh yeah, it's so nice. Yeah, just look at that. Of course, there is a little bit of wear and tear on that because I guess my client is using a magnetic holder, and this ceramic coating, of course, it's wearing. It's not like DLC. It's wearing, but for kitchen knife use, it's more than tough enough because there's no huge abrasion for these thin chef's knives. So what we'll do now, we will try and change these old screws, which, as I said, have some very small glittering parts where the paint might be removed, and this blade is supposed to be all murdered out. So I'll do that free of charge, free of change, just because it's a very good client of mine and he just really wanted a very, very black blade. And you can like instantly see it's looking pretty great. All black is always in style. So, and yeah, another small thing that I don't do, which might be counterintuitive, I'm not putting any Loctite on these screws because I want them to be unscrewed. The thread is pretty long on these screws and these pins, because I want them to be maintained and to be unscrewed. And I think these black screws, new screws, are looking just like the bomb. So we will try and fit up the new handle scale. You can see the fit up is pretty damn tight, which is great in my opinion. We put on the other handle scale, push those screws a little bit in, try not to damage them, as we want to have that murdered out look, and screw in these screws from the other side. Oh yeah, it's pretty tight. I won't even need that other screwdriver. Yeah, there was a slip up, but yeah, the screw is undamaged. Oh, got my heart pounding. Don't want to lose another screw. So, because these screwdrivers are hardened, it's pretty easy to scratch. You need some towel paper, which is clean, without no solvent. The solvent will give these handle scales a matte look, which it's not what we are going for, because we want that nice, even if it's black, we want that nice contrast between shiny and matte, which gives a great balance, visual balance, where your eye can like, ooh, handle, ooh, blade, where you can decipher which is which, and it doesn't look like just a black blob. So murdered out doesn't mean just like everything needs to be black. So the blade, it's clean, it's like new, it's wonderful. I love it. I really do. It's one of my favorites. And what we are going to do now is I'm going to sharpen it. I will sharpen it on my Tormek T8 with CBN wheels from 400 to 1000. I will do a time lapse if, yeah, just to show how the process is going, and that will be pretty easy. And because the edge is already set, so we just need to follow that and realign it and make it all come to a very, very sharp apex. So yeah, I will do a time lapse of that, and after it's sharpened and razor sharp, we'll go on and talk a little bit about how to maintain it, so it lasts another year without getting super dull like now, and maybe last even 2 years or even more without very sharp, getting very dull and needing this kind of spa day. So yeah, let's go. As you saw, this knife is currently sharpened and all clean with new screws, just like new. It's pretty great. Now, first question about sharpening always is a question. Oh, what's the angle? What's the angle? What's the angle? What's the best angle? I have the superior angle. Well, the answer for me is quite straightforward. It's just try and use your knives and see what works best, because there is much more than the angle. It's the steel itself, the edge stability that it has, how hard the steel is, and how fine and how thin is the blade behind the edge. So what I found for myself that is working really great in these knives, which are like multi-purpose, do everything chef knives, is 18 degrees per side, which is 36 degrees in total, the angle of the sharpening. As you can see, they are quite thin. And I find that this angle has great cutting performance and also holds the edge very well, which, yeah, it's the most important things. I don't want to go any steeper for like from 18 to 15 or even less, because it's not a blade for myself, it's a for somebody else, and I want them to have a very good experience. And I take into account that they might misuse it, mistreat it, and people who know how to use their knives, they most of the times they resharpen themselves and do the angles that they like. But I found that 18 degrees is the perfect angle for myself. I really like how it performs, and I'm not afraid to hand it to anybody else, my clients, my fiance, or somebody else. And I know that the edge won't chip, won't roll over, won't do anything crazy when the people that are using it are actually misusing them. So just to show the sharpness of it, it's very sharp, it's very smooth. As you saw, I'm using 2 wheels, CBN wheels on my Tormek T8, which are CBN. The coarse one is 400 and the fine one is 1000. And after 1000, as you saw, I am constantly checking for the burr. Is it removed? Is it still there? And if there is very, very small burr still there, because when I am sharpening it at 1000, I'm not even using the weight of the knife. I'm even lifting it and making it even lighter just to gently remove the burr. And after that, I polish as little as possible, because ABL does not benefit from polishing, and polishing is like, actually the initial sharpness feels better, it's smoother, but the edge retention is reduced. So I polish as little as possible, remove all of the burr and leave 1000 grit finish on the edge, which gives that very nice biting edge, which is for cutting tomatoes, which is great, which is amazing, what we want from a sharp knife. What uses of a knife that it can cut paper very nicely, but cannot cut ingredients that we need to use. So the angle is set, the edge is sharpened. Now this resharpening removes most of the steel. It's a measure to restore a very dull knife. And the first thing that we want to do is to prevent our knives becoming that dull that we need to remove steel. And we can prevent that by periodically maintaining it and resharpening it with easier means. So the means that I am going to talk about is a sharpening rod, and this is a very important point. It cannot be a steel one. It needs to be a ceramic one, because ceramic ones work in a abrasive matter where they remove small amounts of steel from the edge and actually resharpens the edge, and the steel ones are just skip them. And especially skip those chefs that take their rods and they go like shuck. It's like they have no idea what they are doing. They are doing it because they saw that somebody's doing that, and yeah, please don't copy them. Because they can't cook doesn't mean that they can take care of their knives. So yeah. So what I'm going to talk about first, we are going to get scientific, because blank piece of paper is what we are actually trying to achieve and to do. It's a very short primer on using a ceramic rod. So the blade currently at the very edge, it's a profile cut, looks like this. It's the 18 degree per side, 36 per both sides angle that is sharpened. And when we are using it, this edge, the apex, it gets duller. It's pretty thick that I cannot draw, but look, it's getting thicker and it's getting duller, and it's not cutting that well because we need that apex. So what we will do with a ceramic rod is actually remove material just from the very tip. So if I manage to draw it more pretty, just to illustrate the example, it's dull. And what we want to do is not to repeat the whole angle of the blade, the 18 degrees per side, but we want to do it a little bit steeper. Let's say total 40 degrees, so 20 degrees per side, because then we need to remove the least amount of material. And zooming in at the very edge, what we can see is like the bevel, and there is a small micro bevel, which is sharpened then, and we remove this tiny amount of steel. So just to explain it a little better, I think I got myself. Just to explain it a little bit better, how we can know the angle and do the angle a little bit steeper. It's
what you want to do at home is put marker on this shiny edge, and then you take your ceramic rod. I don't have a ceramic rod in my workshop, so don't judge me. And you want to put it on the ceramic rod on the edge, where you can try and feel it when it's on that plane, even, and just raise it. I'm exaggerating it, but raise it a little bit bigger, and then drag it along the ceramic rod once, and then do on the other side and drag it towards yourself. You can see it's biting in the wood. It's so sharp. Drag it back. And then when there is marker on it, you can see that the marker should be removed only at the very apex. And this should restore the sharpness of your knife. Of course, after a lot of time, your bevel will get a little thick, and after multiple resharpens, the cutting performance won't be so good, but it still will be cutting. And then you will see that you need to put in more force into it. Then you can send it to resharpen it, and it will happen from half a year to 2 years mostly in these periods, depending on how often do you use. So you want to see that sliver, and yeah, that shining sliver on the very end of the edge when you put on the marker. And of course the marker is easy to wash away, which is great. So no quick stuff, just even with very little pressure, just drag it at the angle and drag it back at the angle. And then what you do is take paper, and now how will you know when you need to sharpen it? What I do, I take my kitchen knife, I go on paper, I try and cut it. If it doesn't hang on any spot, it's good. We don't need to do anything. If it's stuck on some spot, then I know that there is a spot that needs to be sharpened. You can look at it and you won't see it now, but you were able to see it when it was dull. There will be a shining spot where you know that the edge is dull, concaved or rolled over. So, and the first mistake that people do is go and just sharpen that spot. No. You don't do that, because you will get dips in that spot because you are removing steel. So you don't do that. You take it and you go through all of the edge with even pressure. And that's that. Then you go a few times and you take a piece of paper and you just go through that paper. You see, if there are no hangs, it's done. You put it away, the knife is maintained, and that's that. And you should, well, at least in my experience, I do that once a week, once 2 weeks, and just go over my knives and look at them, resharpen them on these ceramic rods. And then after a long while, when I can feel that the performance is dropping, I'm resharpening them actually. And this small removal and not letting your knives get crazy dull will really benefit you, because the knife's life is prolonged. The amount of steel removed is much less with the ceramic rods, which come in like 3000 grit, which is so smooth. And you will always have a very nice and maintained and sharp knife. So that's about it about sharpening. I hope I managed to explain it pretty well. If you have any questions about that, put them in the comments or write me a direct message on Instagram or any other social media. I'll be happy to answer it.
So yeah, this was my very first YouTube video where I tried to explain it, how should you sharpen and maintain your blades to remove as little steel as possible and to always have sharp knives. And I also showed the process of maintaining the blade and how to clean it, and it's a process that is possible to do by all of you with my knives. I don't Loctite anything. You just need a T20 Torx screwdriver, just to unscrew it, clean it out, and look after it. So yeah, I hope this big and long video answered some questions. Thank you to those who watched it till the end. I kind of dig these longer rambling kind of videos in this age of quick consumption and short 15-second videos, which are mandatory if you want to grow. But yeah, I kind of enjoyed showing some of my process. So I would really appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel, uh, like my video, and I don't know if there is anything more that we can do, but you can comment under it. Leave any questions if you want about my knives, about sharpening, maybe some place was not clear. And please follow me on Instagram, Baltic Blades. Also, I have a Facebook page. And yes, I have a TikTok where I just recycle my content from Reels. So yeah, but mostly I'm active on Instagram. So if you want to shoot me a DM or anything, just write me there. I would highly appreciate it. And yeah, can't wait to make more of these videos and show you more of my process and how I do things. All of these knife maker things are self-learned and self-taught, so there is no university for knife makers. So we are all makers in this one pot. So there are 100 ways to skin a cat, and I just wanted to share the way that I do and to share the way that I would prefer that my clients would do. So yeah, thanks for watching. Enough of rambling, and have a great day, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.